At the same time, the students were envious. Due to the special driving requirements of the I's mechanical armor, the two needed to avoid the girls' change of training clothes. But this easy hand-holding action will make people feel that since God arranged for the two to meet, why not just make do with sincerity, right? It's too late if the girls don't run, if they don't run like this. Charlie, who was confused, didn't understand why everyone was so passionate. But when he thought about the identities of the two, he thought that this was a girls' school. It seems that he understood it all at once, but when he came back, the time was not waiting for him. It's not a good time to chat now. Watching Jiban changing clothes, Charlie suddenly frowned. This can give a question. What is this guy shy about? But Jiban didn't care. It's just that he didn't think about his turn. Charlie actually changed his clothes. It's too fast. Jiban wanted to know the secret of it. After all, boys will be hung when they change their training clothes. But Charlie's blushed face didn't answer. The picture goes around the training ground. Because Jiban was late for a while, the three girls finally grasped the handle. Catching Jiban is a lesson. If it weren't for Charlie coming in time, I think Jiban's heart must have collapsed. But since he came to the training ground, there is no reason not to simulate the battle. Driving, the second generation, is mechanical armor, Charlie challenged Jiban. At the same time, Charlie pulled out a long-range firepower weapon to avoid being blown away. Jiban tried to get close to both sides, but Charlie didn't get what he wanted. At the same time, a long-range firepower weapon started to consume. The white shield's energy dropped rapidly. Jiban had to accept the failure silently. But on the way home from school, Jiban thought about a lot of things. He asked himself, is it really good to be so weak all the time? I still remember Chen Dongji, who had just won the national championship that year, successfully advanced to the world final. But the battle that everyone was looking forward to did not take place. Because on that day, he was trapped by a stranger. And, in order to save himself, Chen Dongji did not hesitate to give up the final. You can't always be protected by yourself. You can't always be protected by yourself. At dusk, Jiban came back to the dormitory with a tired body. At this time, Charlie was taking a shower. Suddenly, Jiban thought that the bathroom had no shower, so he took the initiative to send it over. But what happened next, Jiban was stunned. He didn't expect that Charlie was a girl. When you were in class, what would you do if you were suddenly hit like this? I think everyone was stunned. I don't accept that you are that person's brother. As the Lyola of the Empire's transfer student, not only is his ability very strong, he also has the most advanced eyes mechanism today. But his only obsession is that he will never admit that Jiban is the younger brother of the instructor, Chen Dong. And this deep resentment made him dare to launch a missile at Jiban. If it weren't for Charlie's timely action, the consequences would have been unimaginable. Seeing the two fighting with each other, the training ground recalled the teacher's warning voice. Lyola had no choice but to remove the mechanism. But the hatred in his heart was increasing. At dusk, the school was full of tension. Lyola was venting his dissatisfaction. In his heart, Instructor Chen Dong is a belief class. However, now the instructor is in the IS school. Teaching these students who have no sense of crisis is a fact that Lyola can't stand. But even if Lyola doesn't understand, Chen Dong has an obligation to tell him why. In the end, Lyola can only leave in anger. At the end of the night, Lyola's hatred reached its peak. I will eliminate you, no matter what means you use. On the day of the training ground when Jiban was about to fight with Saishiria, Lyola stood up in the air. Looking at his arrogant attitude and rude tone, come on. The two girls started to attack. At the same time, when Jiban learned of this, he rushed to the scene and saw the situation of the two girls' defeat. Even if he used a dragon cannon to attack, but in front of the Black Zhu with AIC, all abilities will be banned. Even if the dragon cannon is strong, it is also completely suppressed by Lyola. Not only that, at the same time as holding the bell, Lyola still has the ability to fight against Saishiria and does not fall below. In the end, Lyola hit Saishiria with a bell. Jiban's worried eyes and the appearance of the two girls falling, but Lyola's attack did not stop. However, at this time, Saishiria's light flashed and launched a melee defensive cannon to counterattack. At this moment, Lyola definitely ate a big one. But is this game really over? The answer is not over. Lyola, whose hair is gone, appeared again. The whip extended from the black Jiu accurately hit 2 people. This is a thorough, crushing game. Saishiria and the Bell have no ability to fight back at all. If the AIC armor is removed at this moment, the 2 girls will be in danger. Looking at Lyola's proud eyes, Jiban can't stand it anymore. In a flash of time, the space was bright. Jiban, who summoned Baishi, instantly opened the protective barrier and held the faith to protect the 2 girls. Jiban made a fierce attack to Lyola, but when he really came into contact with the chilly barrier, he found his attack was powerless. At this time, the attack came from the sky, and Charlie joined the battlefield. Although Baishi's shield energy is limited at this moment, Jiban still used instant acceleration to send the 2 safely to the edge of the training ground. At the same time, Charlie was in a very bad situation. Not only was Lyola's body restricted by the lock, but his own attack was also completely blocked. When Lyola, who was ruthless, was ready to end everything, Chen Dongji held a 40-meter-long knife and blocked the black Ji with the human body. It's just that Chen Dong didn't punish Lyola, and the final battle ended with the 2 women injured, because the real battle will be in the annual war. This time, Jiban decided to make a deal with Lyola. The war broke out, and Charlie, who appeared in an instant, came at the right time. The sudden attack made Lyola lose. Seeing Charlie's attack, Lyola fell to the bottom. As a teammate, Xiaoji couldn't stand by and watch. But Xiaoji would never expect that he, who was originally going to fight Jiban, would be thrown out of the training ground by Lyola out of love. But all this was actually in Jiban's expectation, because the plan of the 2 at the beginning was to solve Xiaoji's problem first. With the shield-worthy Gillen Xiaoji's Mechnamals and Jie Li, Charlie joined the battle with Lyola again. At the same time, Jiban opened up Lin Ruobai's night form and was ready to cater to Charlie's final charge. But at the moment of landing, Jiban seemed to notice something. Like in Sicily at that time, when Lyola launched the moment of NC defense, he couldn't care about the 3rd person's attack. And the 2 people who realized this were like broken bamboos floating in the air. But at this critical moment, Jiban lost the chain because of the lack of shield. At the same time, as Lin Ruobai's knight was released, Lyola whistled a counterattack call. At this moment, the infinite suffocation was releasing, but the full-blown attack of Jiban's rear would be an instant acceleration of Wu Xia's defense. Until then, Lyola still didn't realize how much of a loss he was in 1-on-2. Instead, he was filled with anger, but the next 1-on-1 kill will be unforgettable for him. With the sharp ending of the shield, there was a critical moment. Charlie won the chase and completely crushed his will. But Lyola couldn't lose. Recalling the experimental body that he gave birth to for the war, he, who has been trained countless times since childhood, is a true top soldier. But when the IS mech appeared in the world because he could adapt to the times in time, Lyola was nicknamed as a loser. Until the appearance of Chen Dongji, he fully awakened his inferiority. In Lyola's eyes, Chen Dongji, who led the army to the world, was like a belief. However, he was such a perfect instructor. But because of Jiban, he was on the only roof. This is a fact that Lyola can't stand. After a while, a strong electric current appeared. Lyola's ice mech began to melt and deform. No one knew what happened. All he could see was that the mech was deforming. Gradually, it evolved into Chen Dong. Looking at Jiban's trembling hands, I think everyone understands that Jiban will lose. The black mech, which has the shape of Chen Dong, not only mimics the appearance but also the acupuncture skills learned from Chen Dong. But in this way, it completely angered Jiban. Chen Dong's acupuncture skills were meant to protect others. However, the black mech hurt people with it. Thinking of Jiban here, he is more angry than ever before. He wants to solve this problem by himself. With the energy he got from Chelina, Jiban called out again. Jiban, who was desperate to fight, now has a lot of power, because there is only one chance. Fortunately, Jiban saved Lyola. He saved this poor child. Later, under the guidance of Chen Dongji, Lyola also let go of her depression. But for Jiban to save himself, Lyola decided to spend the rest of her life with him. But Jiban didn't know that for Lyola, it was not only the body that was saved, but also the salvation of the soul. It is obvious that Jiban is the one who belongs to him. But he didn't make a good decision. Looking at Jiban's helpless hands, Lyola came to a cross to wake him up. But then, someone came. Xiaozhi came with a wooden sword, the fire of the unknown. was burning in his heart. Jiban finally knew what it was like to be forced to fight, so he came to play with Chelina. But in fact, Chelina knows everything. It's just that she doesn't care too much. At this moment, happiness is the most important thing. It's just that in the eyes of other harems it looks so bad. How can this be tolerated on the spot? But then Lyola came. So the three of them immediately set up a search team. Only a few people didn't say anything, but they didn't find anything. This was bad for Lyola. He immediately contacted the battle team, far away in the Empire, and asked everyone to draw a plan for him. But Chelina was also anxious, because if he didn't hurry up, he would be found out. Jiban saw that the situation was not good. Jiban directly opened the Jo Lovdafa of Monyanyuan and tried to calm himself down with it. Fortunately, it was worth it. Chelina was wearing a brave and elegant dress. Jiban was very moved. It was just that the two of them made a sudden move and attracted Chelina's attention. The two of them pulled the curtain and hid nowhere. In the end, it was obvious that it was Chelina who saw this failure. But then again, Jiban has been hiding a secret in his heart. That is, compared to all the harems, his favorite knight is Chelina. Who would believe that? But none of this affected him to continue to occupy the harem. Jiban took the initiative to ask for the head. This was exciting for Chelina. Unexpectedly, she saw Xiaoji's serious face, but Jiban didn't care. Xiaoju was nervous, as if he was about to explode the next moment. At that moment, Chelina fell behind everyone after training. The corresponding head movement was forced to stop. Chelina was still dissatisfied. As a compensation, Jiban begged Chelina to play the top sword. The moment Chelina blushed, I knew she was thinking too much. Back to the dormitory, Chelina kept changing her winning equipment. Although she was embarrassed to be seen by her roommates, she thought it was all worth it. But when she went to find Jiban, she realized that all the harems had come. But what was she doing in there? Everyone wanted to find out what was going on, but Xiaoxiao, Mumen, and Panzhongfu quickly lost the battle. But this time, they finally saw what they were doing. Although Chelina's temper was disturbed, she knew what Chelina came for, so she left Jiban to talk to a few people. Unexpectedly, when Chelina mentioned Jiban, Chelina cared. But Chelina was like this. It seems that Chelina is the biggest rival for Zhongyu. Chelina was so excited, but Xiaoji's tree appeared. Don't look at the rabbit girl in front of you. In fact, she is a genius in the scientific world. Jiban's Bai Shu is outstanding. More importantly, the tree is still the sister of Zhou. And of course, the only purpose of coming to the school tree this time is to send Xiaoji's IS Mechnimals. Look at the big sky. The sky is small again, but this time it's not a rabbit, but a real IS Mechnimals.